מתחת לשער האריות. השער מת לנפול, כנראה מההפגזות שהיו כאן. מוטה, אין כמוך על יד מסגד הומר. אני נוסע במהירות לשער האריות 100% סוף.
אנחנו בתוך העיר העתיקה. החיילים צמודים לקירות. אבל זהו הכותל, ואני נוגע באבני הכותל המערבי.
ברוך אתה אדוני מנחם ציון ובונה ירושלים.
Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, a time to celebrate. As we continue to process the trauma of October 7th, 2023, and continue to fight a war that still rages on multiple fronts, it might seem difficult, even inappropriate to some, to talk about celebration. But now more than ever, we must take a moment to reflect, recognize, and give thanks to God. That is precisely why the celebration of Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, the day we miraculously reunited our eternal capital, is not just important, it's essential. It's essential because the very existence of the Jewish people defies logic. It's essential because the very existence of the modern Jewish state of Israel defies logic. And it's essential because the liberation of Jerusalem, Hebron, Shechem, all of Judea and Samaria, and the Golan Heights, and the Sinai Desert in this miraculous Six-Day War of 1967 is one of the most visible and powerful displays of divine providence and historic justice in modern times. We owe it to ourselves and to our children to never forget that we are living in a time of open miracles, and we must be openly thankful for those miracles. And that is why Jews who pray on Yom Yerushalayim say a full Hallel, and some have even decided to say an Al Hanisim prayer to add to our silent prayers, both at night and during the day. The miracles of 1967, a modern-day exodus. Let's be honest, in 1967, the Jewish state was tiny, vulnerable, and surrounded by Arab armies that were armed to the teeth and openly declaring their intention to wipe us off the map. The Egyptian, Syrian, and Jordanian armies were backed by the Soviet Union and far outnumbered us in tanks, in planes, and in troops. And yet, in just 6 days, the IDF not only defended Israel's existence, but defeated 3 Arab Muslim armies and tripled the size of the Jewish state of Israel. We didn't just survive, we returned home, to the western wall of the Temple Mount, to the Temple Mount itself, to Hebron, to Shiloh, to Beit El, to Shechem, to our biblical heartland, Judea and Samaria, where the Bible took place. You want to talk about miracles? Let's look at just a few of them. The preemptive airstrike. Israel launched Operation Focus and destroyed the Egyptian Air Force over 400 planes in 3 hours. Without air cover, the Arab armies were paralyzed. Liberated Jerusalem. Jordan, who could have stayed out of the war, attacked us. That fateful mistake gave Israel the opportunity to reunite Jerusalem for the first time in 2,000 years. The IDF didn't even have a plan for attacking Jordan. IDF paratroopers reached the Temple Mount, and Mota Gor's words echoed through Jewish history. Har habayit biyadenu, the Temple Mount is in our hands. Hebron, the Arabs in Hebron surrendered without a fight. Expecting fierce resistance, IDF forces entered Hebron and were met with white flags. The city of the patriarchs and matriarchs was returned to Jewish hands without a single bullet fired. Divine weather. In the Sinai, Israeli tanks unknowingly drove into an Egyptian ambush. Suddenly, a sandstorm blew in, blinding the Egyptian forces and allowing our soldiers to pass safely. Then we have the collapse of the enemy. Egyptian and Syrian armies, demoralized and disoriented, began to retreat without even engaging in us. In some cases, IDF soldiers found abandoned tanks and weapons with no fight. This was a war fought on 3 fronts, and we won. north, south, and east, against all odds. Despite being outnumbered in every measurable way, the IDF achieved total victory in 6 days. And then we have from defeat to redemption, the eternal story of the Jewish people. These were not just military victories. They were open miracles, no less significant than the parting of the Red Sea or the fall of Jericho from the Bible. But unlike in ancient times, they happened in our time. And many of us even have family members who witnessed these things firsthand. When we celebrate Jerusalem Day, we aren't ignoring the pain that we're experiencing today. On the contrary, we are putting it into context. We're remembering that no matter how dark things get, and on the eve of the 1967 war, the Jewish people thought we were all going to be massacred and thrown into the sea. And yet we are a nation that has already come back from the brink of annihilation countless of times. And each time we didn't just survive. We returned stronger, more united, more rooted in our divine mission. And we have gratitude in the midst of this war. Yes, October 7th shattered the illusion of security. It exposed deep failures in our defenses and intelligence leadership and left gaping emotional wounds in our people. And yes, we are still fighting, not just Hamas, not just Hezbollah, but an international campaign to delegitimize our right to exist, let alone to defend ourselves. But if we lose sight of the miracles, if we lose sight of the blessings and all that God does for us and the miracle of our existence and survival, we risk losing something even greater, our national soul. We must teach our children not just how to fight, but why we fight and who is fighting with us. We must remind them that we are part of a story that began with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and continues through us. We today are a generation of Jewish warriors, whether with tanks or with truth, with rifles or with faith, chosen to carry the torch of Jewish destiny. Why does Yom Yerushalayim still matter? Because Jerusalem Day is not just a date on the calendar. It's a message. It's a reminder. It's a call to gratitude. In 1948, we declared independence, but we didn't gain access to our holiest site, the Temple Mount, and half of Jerusalem was forbidden to us. In 1967, we returned to the heart of our peoplehood, to Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. That's not just geopolitics. That's God keeping his promise. And today, as we fight another existential war, we must pause, if only for a moment, to say thank you, to recognize that we are not alone, that the same God who gave us victory in 1967 still walks with us today, that the same miracles that split the skies over the Sinai during that war can shine light into the darkness of our times. We are living in the most challenging, but also the most miraculous chapter of modern Jewish history. So yes, we celebrate, we dance, we sing, we wave our flags proudly through the streets of Jerusalem, through the liberated, reunited Jerusalem, not because we are naive, but because we are grateful, because we believe, because we know who brought us home and who will never abandon us. May we continue to see and be blessed to see the open miracles in our time. May we merit true and complete redemption, Geula, and may we always have the strength to be grateful, even in the midst of the storm around us. Jerusalem is in our hands. Let's never, ever let it go. Now it's time to focus on the next step of our destiny, developing the awareness to rebuild our third temple on the Temple Mount. Never forget, we Jews pray 3 times a day for the rebuilding of the temple. We're in the middle of counting Sfirat HaOmer, right? The days, the 50-day day from Passover to the Jewish holiday of Shavuot when we receive the Torah. And every night after we count the night, we say a special prayer, praying for the rebuilding of the temple. It's part of us. Not enough Jews internalize it, that our purpose is being a light into the nations. And what better shows the world that we're home as a moral light into the nations, with God at the center of our being as a nation for humanity, than the rebuilding of the third temple. So it's not just that we need it for ourselves, The world needs it. All of humanity needs the Jews to rebuild the third temple on the Temple Mount. So let's develop that awareness to be ready and prepared for that next step that should come speedily in our time. In the meantime, pray for our holy IDF soldiers fighting in Gaza and still having to take care of returning our hostages, ending the threats against us from our Islamo-Nazi enemies on all fronts across the region, and to be a light into the nations by standing up for true morality against evil. Am Yisrael. That's it for today's special Pulse of Israel program, when you get a daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect truth about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world. If you are not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe today. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. We're heavily censored across all the social media platforms. It's thanks to your support, large donations or small donations, that we're able to do our work. And we have so much work to be done, so much truth to inspire people with, especially the Jews. And it's thanks to your donations. So every once in a while, just click on the donate button on pulseofisrael.com. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.